In today's video, we are going to discuss a game played between Sergei Karakin and Alireza Firoza. I may not have pronouncing the names correctly, as Sergei Karakin is a Russian name, Alireza Firoza is an Irani name. So, in this game, Sergei Karakin was white and Alireza Firoza was black. In the previous video, Alireza Firoza was white and he played against the black Nastov. Today he's black and he's playing the Nastov. I explained some of the ideas behind the moves in the previous video, and today's video I will also shed light on the ideas behind the moves which are played in the opening, in the middle game and in the end game. Okay, let's start with the video. E4, C5, Knight F3, D6. I already told you that in past, Knight C6 was considered the main move instead of this D6 move. But nowadays, D6 is considered the main line. D4, C into D4, Knight into D4, and Knight F6. I have already told you that reason behind developing this Knight to F6 is to hit this pawn on E4 and asking White to immediately protect it by the move Knight C3. If Black plays any other move, for example, he plays the move Bishop to D7, then White could go for this C4 pawn, this Marcosi type structure. So we continue with the game, and that was Knight F6, Knight C3, A6. Now we are going to enter in the Nastov variation. A6 is the start of the Nastov variation. Bishop D3, E5, directly hitting in the center this knight on D4. These are all the standard opening moves. Knight goes back to E2, Bishop E7. Black is going to castle immediately. Castle, castle, Knight G3. Bringing this knight over here to G3 has diverse reasons, as it is protecting this square, H5 in the black territory and F5 in the black territory. And in future, he might be going to play these moves, F4 to F5. Sorry. Or may exchange the pawn on this E5 square to open up this F half open file for his rook on F1. The second idea may be that he is going to play the H4, H5 and H6 after bringing the queen to queen F3. After this pawn F4 is moved, and after pinning this bishop on G5. So rook E8 was played. The reason behind is that to centralizing the rook, and in some instances to bring this bishop back to F8, and in very few cases Black then develops to G6 and put his bishop to G7, but it is in some few cases. It depends on the position. So bishop C4 was played, bishop E6, directly challenging this bishop on C4, knight D5. The whole point of White's move order is to control this square, control this D5 square in Black's strategy. And whenever Black gets chance in Sicilian, whichever it is, Sveshnikov or this Najdorf or any other, black would play this move d5 immediately. And this square is the main square on which white is going to fight. And black is also going to fight for this square. And whenever black has the chance, he will play the move immediately d5. So knight d5 was played. Knight b d7, developing the knight to d7. Reason behind it is that he is going to develop the knight whether to b6 or whether to c5. After might be playing these moves to b5 and hitting this knight over here on d5, controlling this square, d5 square. So bishop e3 was played, rook c8, bringing the rook to half open file, bishop b3. These all are the standard moves. And bishop f8. As per the computer, this is a Dobry's move, but the position is equal. I think Alireza Firouzja prepared this move. Instead, computer says that bishop into d5 was better. Bishop into d5 to bringing this knight on d5 out of the board. But we continue with our game. c3 was played in the game. The standard continuation. Queen a5 was played, bringing the queen to an active scale. Let's stop here and think that what is the plan of black in this position and what is the plan of white in this position. Black is going to play on this queen side, whereas white may play on the king side here. Or the fight may be continued in the center for the squares to get hold over here on the this d5 square. So knight into f6 was played, knight into f6, bishop g5, immediately pinning this knight. If black plays again this knight to d7, it loses the tempo, and white is the tempo here. Knight d7 was played, and queen e2, bringing the white is bringing his pieces to active squares over here. Knight c5, which I discussed in the start of the video. Black's plan that why black may play this move knight to b6 after playing this move b5, or he is going to immediately play this move to c5. Bishop into c6, taking this bishop on e6, and knight black takes it with its knight. Bishop to e3 and d5. Now black has achieved the goal of the Sicilian defense, and black's position is better and it is easy to play with. Here e into e4 was played and queen into d5 and rook ft1, and white's rook gets activated, but black's position is better over here because of the reason that his knight is active, his rook is active on half open file, his bishop is active, he may come anywhere immediately. You will see that white's pieces are not much active as his black counterparts. For example, this knight is roundabout on the rim. He is just eyeing these squares h5, f5, and e4, but doing a good defensive job. Whereas this bishop is has only one this square. If we see it, this bishop has this square, this square, this square, and it has no square on this diagonal in black's territory. And this rook of white on a1 is on its initial square. So queen c6 was played in the game, queen g4, bringing the queen to the king side for the attack. g6 was played. As I discussed earlier in the game, that the reason behind playing this move to bishop to d7, it might work back to f8 and go back to g7 for defense. Here f3 was played by white, and actually this was a dubious move. Instead of it, I think Sergei Kazan did not want black to play this move, e4. Although this move could not be played immediately, but he forbade this move for the future prospectus. So the better continuation here was a4, playing on the queen side, taking this good square from the black queen, b5 square from this queen. And it had another prospectus that I am going to expand on these squares also. I'm going to play on the king side also, and I'm going to play on the queen side also, after moving this rook to c1. So after a4, king to h8 was a better continuation if might have been played. Queen e4, asking black to exchange the queens. And here f4 was played. Now black is expanding on king side, and he's making way his king to come to the center in 3 moves, and opening up this diagonal for his bishop too in some instances. Queen into c6, h, rook into c6, knight e2, and f4, bishop d2, and knight c5. See, black has a lot of development instead of its white's counterparts. His bishop is stuck. It is easy to play with black. I will take black in this position, not white. The reason behind is that this knight, his all squares are covered. This bishop, all central squares are covered. This rook is on initial square, and this rook on d1 is blocked by his own bishop on d2. So we come back to our main game, where f3 was played in the game, and bishop to c5. This move is roundabout okay. Instead of it, black could have tried a different move order. He might have played queen b5, immediately hitting the white's queen side and controlling this square while light squares in the black's territory. And rook a b1, protecting the pawn on b2. Let's go with the move. which was played in the game, and that was bishop c5, bishop into c5, queen into c5 check, king h1, rook cda, challenging this d5. Queen e4 was played and b5. Here black might go for the minority attack, as white has 3 pawns on the queen side and black has only 2. And usually when you are down a pawn on any side of the board, whether it is king side or whether it is queen side, and the opponent has a greater number of pawns than you, for example 1 more, then you go for the minority attack. And minority attack is like this, like a5, a4, or a4, b4, etc. are hitting this pawn by a3. So queen c2 was played, f5, expanding on the king side, as black has the majority of pawns over here and white has just 3 pawns. Queen b3 was played, and this was, I think, the first mistake, proper mistake of the game. Here instead of queen b3, a4 was better, directly challenging these pawns on the queen side and trying to make a passed pawn out of these 2 pawns. King g7 was to be played in. So we go back to our game where queen b3 was played. After that, queen f7, a4. Black continued with this idea, but he got late over here. Now his king is centralized. Now black has the tempo instead of white. Queen c4 was played, asking black to exchange the queens. After that, b into c4. Now just evaluate this position that black has 2 pawn islands over here. This pawn is holding these 2 pawns in the white's territory, or white basically. And this pawn, after moving these 2, a5, will hold this pawn on a4. And still nobody knows that what is going to happen with this d5, as both players are saying that we are not going to exchange the rooks over here. I think black has the edge. Then when he will bring his king to e7, then he will try to exchange these rooks over here. So after b into c4, knight f1 was played, bringing this knight to a good scare like e3 and hitting this pawn on c5, sorry, c4. Rook d3 was played, rook e1. The reason behind is that if you take this rook after pawn takes and you bring this rook over here, and rook d8 protects this pawn, you can't immediately challenge it. And knight, then knight of black on e6 will immediately move to c5 to double protect this pawn on d3. And black's position is with the +2, a pawn up position, like a pawn up position. So instead of exchanging the rooks, black gives control back, white gives control of the d file to black, and rook e1 was played. After that, knight c5, controlling the squares in the white set, b3, and protecting this rook over here on d3. King g1 was played. Now white is trying to bring his king to the center for the fight. f4 was played, stopping the idea of this king ever coming to this square on e3. Rook e2 was played, trying to strike this e5 pawn. e4 was played, and this is the type of move that we should know how to play. This is the positional judgment of the Alireza Firoza, that this pawn on e5 is my liability. It would be better that if I exchange this pawn and then place the move like g5, h5 and g4, and I would have this majority of pawns on the king side, 3 versus 2. Immediately he thought that this pawn on e5 is liability for me. It is better to exchange it, and he goes for it. So after e4, f into e4, rook into e4, rook into e4, and knight into e4. Now see, all the black pieces, which are 2 knight on e4 and rook on d3, are in the white's territory. And what white's pieces are doing? They are basically roundabout, have no squares, proper squares to move. For example, this knight is struck. This square on g3 is covered. This square on e3 is covered. This square on d2 is covered by the rook. And white's rook can only move to this b1, c1, which where he does not do anything, or he could move to this square e1. So rook e1 was played, knight c5 was played, a5, stopping this pawn to move to a5. Instead, immediately playing the move by himself, a5, as it was also threatened by this knight on c5. Rook d5 was played, bringing rook d5 back, that after I am going to play the move of knight to anywhere, I am going to pick this pawn on a5. h4 was played, stopping black to play this move g5 immediately. Now if black wants to play this move g5, then he would have to go for king f6, h6, and then he is going to play this move g5. King f6, knight h2, king f5, bringing the king to the center or to the king side and hitting this pawn by the king. Knight f3 was played, knight d3. Now this knight is hitting this pawn on b2 and protecting this pawn on f5. Here, if you would see, I want to discuss this vision once more, that black would have played this move immediately to d3, but he did not do that. These are the type of things we should learn, and that is, first bring your king to the more active square when you have the time, if you have the time, as these squares are protected by the king, and this square is protected by the rook over here, and this square is protected, like see, e6, e5, e4, and e3. These all squares are protected by black species here and here. So it was better for black to first bring his king to more active square, which he did by playing the moves f6 and f5. Then he attacked this pawn on b2. So just keep in this mind, always see that which of your pieces are not very active. You are going to attack something and that can be delayed. Grandmasters say that if you want to play a move, play it in 4 moves. Play your main move in 4 moves. In that time, play the intermediate moves. Develop your pieces. Place your pieces to their perfect squares. So this is what Alireza Firoza did in the game. So knight f6, knight h2, king f5, knight f3, knight d3, and rook e7 was played. He could not go if white plays the defensive move like rook to e2. Then he is going to stuck with the defense of this pawn, which could not be hold, because after that black is going to play the move rook to b5, or he is going to take on a5, and then he is going to move the rook from here to b5 and going to pick this pawn on b2. So here Sergei Kraken was fed up of the torture which black did to him, and he went for active play, actually, which backfired. After that, rook into a5, rook into h7, knight into b2, rook f7 check, king e4, king h2, and this was the second mistake of the game. Instead of it, it was better for king to come to center. Sorry, it was better for the rook. Rook f6, immediately hitting this pawn on g6, and asking black, if you are going to play the rook to anywhere, I am going to capture this pawn on a6. So after that, king d3 had to be played. Black would go for taking this pawn on c3 and going to try to promote this pawn on c5. So we come back to the main move which was played in the game, and that was king h2. After that, knight d1 was played, and that was a mistake by the black, by Alireza Firoza. Instead of it, rook d5 was better, immediately bringing back the rook and then going to play the move a5, protecting this pawn over here. So h6 might have been played, and this pawn is going to fall, but then king could move over here, or this pawn could move over here to a5, and black would have this passed pawn on this a5. Rook d7 was played by black, and that was a blunder, which caused Sergei Kraken the game. Instead of here, rook e7 check was better. First, after the king moves to d6, it was better than to play the move e6 here. So knight e3 was played, protecting this pawn on c5 and controlling this square, and this square on f5 and g4, and bringing this knight over here might be on d5 to hit this pawn on c3. After that, rook d6 was played, and this was also a mistake. Instead of it, knight g5 check first was best. After that, king f5. So we go back with our game where rook d6 was played, knight g4 check, king h3, knight f2 check, king h2, and rook a1. Saying that I am going to mate over here, mate you over here. Knight g1 was played to protect white from getting mated in one move. Knight g4 check, and black loses the knight over here. King h1, knight e5 was played, king h2, and rook a2. Instead of here, it was better to play the move a5 here. Playing this a pawn and giving the threat of promoting this pawn to the queen. Response would be rook e6, king f5, and rook e8. So after rook a2, white played king h1, a5. Now it was played in the game, knight f3. Here the black is completely winning in this game. And rook a1 was checked and the game was over. Because here white could not do anything. This pawn is going to promote and white can't stop it. This pawn on c3 is going to fall. And when the rook moves over here or knight over here, then black is going to move this pawn over here. After taking, knight takes, and this might fall. This knight might fall. So in this game, we learned that how to make good moves, how grandmasters think, and they make good moves. The positional ideas behind the opening moves. So if you liked my video, kindly subscribe and hit the bell icon button. Thank you very much.